Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Jared Palley's Fragrance Reviews. Tonight we're going to be looking at a very popular release from 2022 from the House of Azzaro. This is called The Most Wanted Parfum 2022. Now I need you to listen up closely for a minute because there are many flankers in the Wanted series. There is the Wanted EDT Eau de Toilette. There's Wanted by Night, EDP, Eau de Parfum. Then there's another, The Most Wanted. It's an EDP, Eau de Parfum Intense. This is simply Parfum. A lot of people make the mistake thinking that the Parfum and Eau de Parfum are the same. They are two separate entities in many fragrance companies. So you have to pay attention before you buy. Out of all of the Azzaro Wanted flankers, I think this one is the best. It's a delicious, smooth blend. It's sweet, warm, slightly spicy. It's a very well-balanced fragrance for being sweet and has great depth. The one thing I would have to say is with sweet fragrances, always make sure you try before you buy more than maybe any other fragrance with the exception of ouds. For the simple reason is there are many notes I find with people with neroli, ambroxan, vanilla, almonds, anything of that nature. You may like the smell, but you may not be able to wear it because of the fact it may give you a headache or it may be just too overbearing where it's too much for you, makes you almost nauseous. So just because you like the smell does not mean it's gonna be wearable for you. So that's always something you have to keep in mind. So I'm just going to take this out of the box and give it a spray on my wrist. And all the Wanted line, it's a similar shaped bottle, but this has a bit of a copper tint to it. Pop off the top. So it starts off with a very smooth vanilla with a pop of spiciness. I kind of liken it slightly to like a grape champagne. But with that said, what you're smelling off your skin is not necessarily what people are going to smell around you in terms of your scent bubble or the scent wafts or the scent trail. It's going to be very different. It's going to be more of like a spicy vanilla, but they're really not going to take in any grape. So don't let that scare you off. The dry down is woodsy, a little more smoky, still sweet. It settles in very nicely. The spice is just right. Later on, I find it to be a little more boozy, a little bit of a rum scent to it, and it almost becomes deeper, more brooding, the scent as a whole. Still sweet, but I would say less spicy. As advertised, Azzaro doesn't give many notes for the breakdown. Simply ginger, top notes, woodsy notes for the middle, and the base of bourbon vanilla. Ladies love this fragrance. This is a compliment getter. Young bucks between the ages of 18 and 25. This will really impress the ladies. The majority, I say 90-95% of them. I remember when I had this sprayed on me in a drugstore. Within about a minute, a lady complimented how nice it smelled. And me personally, this is a sweet fragrance. It's something, if I was to wear at my age of almost 45, it would be a romantic encounter, date night, that sort of thing. But I would limit the amount of sprays. Just try with one or two, because this fragrance has excellent longevity, 8 to 10 hours, great projection, scent trails, etc. So this is a great bang for your buck. It's not overly expensive, but it's a great bang for your buck for the young gentlemen that are looking for a versatile fragrance. I would also say, even with the young guys, again, try before you buy. See if you want to make the investment, because there's many others in the series, and there may be something you like more. Again, this is just my personal opinion and my personal taste, and I do have somewhat sensitivity to extremely sweet fragrances and certain notes, like I've mentioned before, neroli and ambroxan. If it's used in just a slight amount, I can tolerate it, but if that becomes the dominating note, especially in the dry down, I can't take it. So this one, for me, is an exceptionally well-blended sweet fragrance with a lot of depth, and it's not obnoxious. So I would say, when I was younger, this would have been something I would have worn almost on a daily basis. I still would wear it now, but in a much more controlled type of application. Again, start with one or two, and then see how it goes from there. It smells very well on the clothes too. It does not mutate into any kind of strange smell, which becomes synthetic. That's the other thing about it. This does not have a synthetic smell to it. It has a nice natural smell. And this is a very great release from Azzaro. And just one last note about Azzaro is to show you the transformation of fragrances over the years. And I have many vintage fragrances. I know a lot about fragrance history. Is they produced Azzaro Pour Homme, which was one of the best-selling fragrances in the 1980s, which is completely different from this. Then they had another line of Pour Homme where they were like an elixir and then an intense, which were becoming more sweeter, more modern. And now they have this line, which is a modern day fragrance. So it shows you the evolution over time from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, now 2020s, how the tastes are really changing. The gentlemen want more of a sweeter fragrance. And also in the 80s, there weren't really any fragrances that were being designed for men in their late teens and early 20s. You had to wear what an older gentleman was going to wear, a much more masculine fragrance. So I would not consider this a masculine fragrance. It's a sweet fragrance with maybe a touch of masculinity, but very different from what Azzaro was producing in the 80s. Nevertheless, it is what it is, and things change, and you have to embrace the new and accept that things go out of style and tastes change. It's part of evolving. And I would also say, if you like this review, hit the like button, the subscribe button, notification bell. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below and I'll be sure to answer you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.